What's that? It's perfect. You want to be that guy? Wow. Good morning, Crypto Nation. This is the Data Lord. Welcome to Crypto and Coffee here on Decentralized TV. Where's Jaime? Well, it's Memorial Day. And so he is doing things revolving around that and having children. So, is what it is. I do want to say thank you so much to everybody who has served in the armed forces, who has risked their life, and to those who have given their lives. Thank you so much for everything you've done for our country. And I think the best way that we can honor all of those veterans and those fallen veterans is to live a life that is pro-freedom, right? We want to be people who are focused on preserving freedom and integrity. So in crypto, you're in the right place. So I want to say what's up to everybody. What's up, Juan? I see you, brother. And if you are still hanging out, go ahead and say what's up in the chat and we'll get to it. But let's not delay. Let's go ahead and look into our markets, shall we? So we got Bitcoin having a bit of a rally, actually, over the last week. We've had about 4% up. And Ethereum doing kind of the same thing, but a little bit harder, interestingly, at 4.7%. And then we got Ripple Nipple, positive news generally coming out. That's what the general sentiment for XRP is right now. People are like, yeah, I think this is going to be favorable. So, the XRP army, as they call themselves. And if you're one of them, no disrespect, that's just what you call yourselves. Looks like Dogecoin is dormant, but pay attention to that guy. I expect when Litecoin moves, Dogecoin will move too. Polygon crushing it in the weekly, 7.1% up. And the rest of the markets are pretty flat. Litecoin, a little bit of a 2.5% pump here. So pay attention to Litecoin specifically. We did have a rally. I'm just presenting my other window. Yeah, TradingView has its own little app now, which is great. So this is Litecoin. We have, again, just eye on the prize, right? This orange line is August 2nd. That is the halving of Litecoin, right around June 5th or so. Historically speaking, and I'll show you this, we've had a big pump about 8 weeks prior to the halving. So, here is the halving last time, and 8 weeks prior to that, boom, boom, boom. We have a nice big run up. So the run ups could start, give or take. But and do note, what I'm not saying is that past performance indicates future results, but it is a good thing to look at and to speculate upon. So, and that's what I'm personally speculating on. So, do what you're going to do, but just be advised that these are the time frames, and I think these are forcing mechanisms for price action. So, we did make this little wedge here, drop down, come back up. I'm waiting to see if we form another wedge pattern or if we keep rallying up. Either way, just under 84 bucks a coin, that was a really good entry point. Even now, we're not at a terrible entry point given the heights that Litecoin has capacity for. So I think people are kind of bored. They usually like to wait for halvings to happen in order to get some price action moving along. Miners are certainly going to take advantage of it, and I think when miners are selling off some of their coins because of things like halvings and whatnot, you tend to see general trading have a lot of action as well. So Litecoin and Dogecoin are both on the script algorithm. I expect both of them to probably play off of each other because the same miners who have Litecoin also have Dogecoin typically. So just be informed. And then Bitcoin, I'm sure Jaime has plenty to say here, but we're still riding this channel here, this 30K to 26K. We're still just banging around in there. I don't think we have confirmation just yet, but I will say, look at the RSI. We are getting a downward trend on the RSI, right? Like the peaks, you can see we're moving in that direction. So I think it's running out of steam. And typically when this happens, at some point it intersects, like a long-term, short-term moving average or something, macro to really force that price in a specific direction. So just pay attention to Bitcoin. Your DCA is going to go a long way right now. I really don't see us dropping to lower lows for long periods of time. We might have quick wicks down, kind of like what happened here where we were at 25, it snapped down to 19 and whipped back up. It'll be that type of price action where I don't think it'll be down for more than a day or so. But what do I know? It's all speculation. So, anywho, let's get into our stories for the day. So, interestingly, 84% of voters want presidential candidates to support the right to Bitcoin, a poll shows. So I really do think that with the next presidential elections in the United States coming up, this is going to be an important factor. There's so many people on every political persuasion who think that Bitcoin's a good idea, right? They want people to have the right to own what they want, and so I'm super for that. I think that's a lot of common ground people can find. Is we should probably agree to property rights. We probably should agree that everyone should have the right to own whatever they want to own, Bitcoin wise or any crypto otherwise, without getting a lot of flack from the powers that be. So let's take a look at this. The cryptocurrency debate is intensifying as the 2024 United States presidential election approaches, with some candidates elaborating on their plans to address the sector going forward. As digital assets are expected to feature prominently on the campaign agenda, voters are likely to have questions about their preferred presidential candidate's stance on Bitcoin before casting their votes. Recognizing this, Michael Saylor, the executive chairman of MicroStrategy, commissioned a Twitter poll on May 27th to gauge whether voters believe a presidential candidate must support their right to Bitcoin to secure their vote. As of May 28th, almost 30,000 Twitter users had shared their opinion, with a resounding 84% responding yes to the question. Will you demand that any presidential candidate supports your right to Bitcoin before earning your vote? Only 16% of respondents voted in the negative. So this is like properly important, right? So will you require any presidential candidate to support your right to hashtag Bitcoin before they can earn your vote? And yeah, nearly 30K said yeah. Now, mind you, I think it's fair to say that Michael Saylor is a Bitcoin maxi, and the people who are probably on his Twitter are probably Bitcoiners to begin with. So that sample size, I think it probably has a flaw in it. But the fact is, it's very important to people who are pro-Bitcoin. And so the question is, really, what percentage of the general public do you think that will make up? I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you got an opinion on that. I don't have any clue. I imagine it's like everyone who's Gen X or younger, and then there's a good handful of baby boomers who their kids probably got them into it and they think it's a great idea. So, or they're just techies and crypto heads themselves. So shout outs to my baby boomer crypto heads. I see you. So the poll can be interpreted as a testament to the public's strong desire for a candidate who actively endorses and promotes the utilization of Bitcoin in both political and economic realms. Crypto regulation and presidential polls. Indeed, the talk on crypto regulation has gathered steam after some presidential candidates from both parties highlighted their intent to develop the sector if elected into office. For instance, Ron DeSantis, the incumbent governor of Florida, and a Republican presidential candidate, recently engaged in a Twitter space alongside Tesla CEO Elon Musk, where crypto was part of the agenda. In the course of their discussion, DeSantis criticized the approach taken by the President Joe Biden towards Bitcoin, expressing concern that the ongoing regulatory crackdown could potentially stifle its growth, stating they'll probably end up killing it. Notably, the United States is presently formulating various regulatory proposals for cryptocurrencies. Although no definitive legislation has been enacted thus far, Governor DeSantis stressed that he intends to prevent the passage of anti Bitcoin laws through Congress, highlighting his commitment to preserving Bitcoin's viability. So that's probably good for most people to hear, even if you're not a Republican, even if you're not conservative leaning, you probably still want to see Bitcoin preserved as a viable option here. So, what's up, Indo? I see, brother. What's up? Elsewhere, Democratic candidate Robert F. Kennedy has vowed to safeguard the right to hold Bitcoin. According to Kennedy, holding Bitcoin can be equated to civil liberties. I think it is. You have a right to own property. And who is the government to say that you can't own that just because they don't control Bitcoin? I think that's exactly astute from Kennedy here. So, in addition to the focus on regulatory approaches, cryptocurrencies are also playing a role in campaign finance. Ahead of the 2024 race, Kennedy and his Republican counterpart Vivek Ramaswamy, and this dude's fascinating, by the way, Vivek Ramaswamy have announced their acceptance of Bitcoin donations, reflecting the increased utilization of cryptocurrencies in political campaigns. So, this combination here is fascinating, at very least to be part of the conversations. Having uh, Robert F. Kennedy and Vivek Ramaswamy, because I think that the fascinating piece about this is Kennedy is a Kennedy Democrat, and then Vivek Ramaswamy is a Republican, and they want to run together. So I think that'd be super cool, actually, to see that much bipartisan cooperation, even within the cabinet. So everything I've seen, at least from Vivek Ramaswamy, I think is a great conversation to have, and I'd love to hear what other candidates have to say on the same topics. With you know, looking back at previous presidential debates, I've really been disappointed at the lack of substance. I've seen the last several ended up being attacks on people's character instead of talking about the actual subject matter, talking about the actual issues. And I think that we ought to be holding our represented officials accountable to that. Like we don't want to see you talk smack about each other. We don't want to see you try to just insult each other on a stage. I want to hear you talk about these issues that you're basically interviewing for, right? Like I want to see you present real solutions, not hypothetical and low sophisticated answers. I want to hear real thoughtful approaches to solving serious problems that we're facing. So yeah, we'll keep everyone posted as that develops, but it looks like apparently Bitcoin does have the potential to polarize who is a viable candidate or not. So that's pretty fascinating, and I'm interested to see how that plays long term. And let's talk about our headline article today. Yeah. So, you know how back in 2017, Ethereum dropped ICOs and rather they dropped tokens. And when ERC20 tokens dropped, people were doing ICOs. They were using the ERC20 tokens as fundraisers. And basically, hey, you pay us, you get tokens. We will build these products out. And you can get in based on prices. When the product's built out, you can move your tokens over for real hard assets. And that is what happened with Binance, for example. Binance did do that, where you were able to buy an Ethereum token for BNB. Once BNB dropped, you were able to send that BNB, or sorry, that ERC20 token for BNB over to Binance, and they would credit your account with BNB. So it has legitimately been used in that capacity, but there was a lot of people who were just slinging hopium. They're like, hey, we're going to make this awesome project. People were like, yeah, I'm super down for that. And then they would just rug pull, and those tokens would be worth nothing. So interestingly, a lot of wallets kind of went dark around that time and didn't have any movement. And there's one wallet that has $14.7 million worth of Ethereum in it. And it, after 8 years of no action, actually had a transaction on it. So let's read this here. In an expected turn of events, a once dormant wallet from the Ethereum initial coin offering in 2015 has sprung to life, causing ripples in the crypto community. The wallet, which had remained untouched for 8 long years, recently made a startling move by transferring its substantial holdings to another address. So it's on the move. Following the mysteriousness that comes with this move, questions arise about the motives behind the unexpected awakening and the potential impact on the Ethereum market. Yeah, it's a lot of money on ETH being moved around. The awakening of a sleeping giant. So on-chain analysis, look on chain, we're the first to notice the activity within this dormant wallet. The wallet was first seen initiating a test transaction, moving 1 ETH worth $1,845, followed by a transfer of the remaining 7.999 ETH, which is $14.7 million. So someone's slinging 8,000 ETH around. I don't know who that is, but delving into the wallet's history, the wallet acquired its 8,000 ETH holdings during the Ethereum ICO at a bargain price of, check this, 31 cents per token, amounting to a mere $2,500 investment at the time. The current value of these holdings implies roughly 5,900, I'm sorry, I'm saying this wrong, 591,900% return on investments. Basically 600,000%. How's that for returns? Underlying the tremendous gains early Ethereum investors have experienced. After the transfer, the funds found their way into another wallet that showcased limited transaction history. Interestingly, just moments prior to this happening, a separate inbound transaction of 207 ETH, which is approximately $380,000, was recorded in the same wallet. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Somebody's not just eating hot dogs for the weekend, you know. We might even get some burgers, bro. You know, that's kind of we might be able to eat that Heinz ketchup. We ain't doing none of this Dollar Tree ketchup. We out here. This incoming transaction originated from a distinct wallet that had remained inactive since 2017. The motives behind this consolidation and the subsequent movement of funds remain shrouded in mystery, leaving the crypto community speculating on potential reasons for such an action. So, speculations on moved dormant ETH. So, let's see what they think. While the exact intentions of the Ethereum ICO participant are uncertain, the crypto community, under the look on chain post revealing the information, was quick to make speculations. Some noted that this move, Ethereum from a dormant wallet, might be from someone migrating from their old Ledger wallet, which we've been covering those conversations, right? Over the past week, Ledger, a leading hardware provider and renowned name in secure crypto custody, faced a significant blow to its reputation when it unveiled a new feature called Recover. Intended to serve as cryptographic backup for users' seed phrases, the announcement was met with severe backlash from the community. The backlash intensified when Ledger CEO Pascal Guthier confirmed that the government could access clients' private keys through the Ledger Recover feature in case of a subpoena. Well, that's not good. As the backlash escalated, Ledger was forced to halt the launch of the Recover feature and instead await the release of a white paper and further progress on its open source roadmap before proceeding. However, with users becoming increasingly vigilant about the custody of their digital assets, many have migrated away from Ledger in search of safer alternatives. Speculation suggests the person behind the movement of the dormant ETH might fall into that category. So I think that's a pretty plausible theory, honestly. I mean, if I had 8,000 ETH, I probably would do whatever's needed to secure it properly. But the other thing, too, I probably wouldn't have 8,000 ETH in one wallet. I'd probably split it up, but who knows. Regardless, the Ethereum market remained unshaken to this news over the past 24 hours. Ethereum has shown slight bullish signals and up by 1.1% with a trading price of $1,845. So, do you have other theories on what happened here? Like, do you think someone's just trying to dump ETH because they know something's up, or do you think, uh, they're trying to basically wash the account so that it doesn't have the same history anymore, or do you think they're just trying to opt their operational sec and get into some other wallet that might not have the same risk that Ledger is thought to potentially have? Let me know. I'm not really sure what my say is on that, but love to hear your opinion. So, lawyer uses ChatGPT in court and now greatly regrets it. So this, yeah, coincidence that it's around June 1st. Wouldn't that be interesting? Maybe they suspect some pump happening soon. Gundy, what's up, brother? I see you. Good morning. So here's the deal. ChatGPT is very powerful. Not just ChatGPT, but like AI in general. So the idea that like you can copy paste. Do you remember this? Like for some people, like myself, I was in school when Wikipedia came out, and people were like copying and pasting like Wikipedia articles straight up and turning them in as like their papers. And a lot of teachers were kind of freaked out. They're like, "Oh no, kids are just going to copy off the internet, and that's going to be their papers." I think that's kind of the same approach to like ChatGPT, but it's a little bit more sophisticated. That being said, like you can tell if it's that person's voice or not. You can tell if that person knows what they're talking about because you can just kind of ask them some questions, and if they can talk around the subject, they really know the material enough to be able to write the paper. And if they didn't do the work, then you ask a few questions and the cracks are going to show, right? And so looks like a lawyer kind of did the same thing. He used ChatGPT not as a resource, but kind of as his homework, and he just turned it in and looked stupid. So let's check this out. The court used the word bogus to describe the quotes and citations the New York attorney provided, which were sourced from ChatGPT. So a New York attorney has been blasted for using ChatGPT for legal research as part of a lawsuit against a Colombian airline. Stephen Schwartz, an attorney with the New York law firm Leavidow and Alberman, that's a funny name, was hired to Robert Mata to pursue an injury claim against Avianca Airlines. I'm going to say that right. Mata claims he sustained the injury from a serving card during the flight when an airline in 2019, according to a May 28th report from CNN Business. However, after a judge noticed inconsistencies and factorial errors in the case documentation, Schwartz has admitted to using ChatGPT for his legal research, according to a May 24 sworn affidavit. He claims that this was his first time using ChatGPT for legal research and was unaware of the possibility that its content could be false. Come on, man. It's like saying like I Googled something and I didn't know that it might not be right. It's like, dude, okay. In an April 5th court filing, the judge presiding over the case stated 6 the submitted case appear to be bogus judicial decisions with bogus quotes and bogus internal citations. So I think this type of thing is, in this instance, negligence. But I do think this concept of just straight up false information being misunderstood, I really do think that's the big risk that people like Elon and other technologists who are high ranking are concerned about. They're concerned that just what the hell can we believe is even true if AI is saying things in ways that seem digestible, seem legitimate. Like, how do we sift through the increasing noise floor and the convincingness of the rhetoric being used? So yeah, pay attention to that. The judge further claims that certain cases referenced in the submissions did not exist. There was an instance where a docket number on a filing was mixed up with another court filing. So, yeah, keep in mind, what's up, Just Boss? Yes to you, girl. Happy Memorial Day to you. Keep in mind, here's how these AIs function, right? They look at a bunch of data and they just look at the relationships between the text and the patterns of speech. They're not actually aware of what it is. They just sort of say, hey, this looks like this looks like this, and they follow patterns. And so in legalese, there's a lot of patterns that are already published out there. It's been trained on, and so it can pick a lot of stuff up, right? But like, you still need a human to sort it out and make sure it's meeting all the criteria, at least for the time being. So that's kind of what happened here. It saw the pattern of like the docket number, and it just made one that looked consistent. It wasn't like a citation. It was following a pattern, and people just don't quite understand how that relationship functions. That coffee's freaking good. Yeah, boy. So yeah, that's really interesting. Schwartz said he also regrets having trusted the artificial chatbot without conducting his own due diligence. Yeah, you think? You also regrets. Like, dude, you didn't do your homework and you look stupid because you didn't do your homework. The affidavit noted, Schwartz greatly regrets having utilized generative artificial intelligence to supplement the legal research performed herein, and will never do so in the future without absolute verification of its authenticity. And that's the rule right there. You just need to verify. Trust but verify. Like, just look it up and make sure it's not full of crap. It's simply a pin on your board. It's just a data point, right? And so if you treat it as anything more than a data point, you're gonna run into some weird issues. Like for me, for example, I've been using ChatGPT to solve a lot of computer issues, and it has solved a lot of problems. It's almost like talking to another IT guy. But here's the deal: sometimes you talk to an IT guy and he's stupid, he's full of crap, or he's exhausted from the last day because his baby's been crying or something, and he just gave you bad information. So all that's possible. And I want you to pay attention to the fact that, like, you are responsible for you, right? You are responsible to ask a lot of questions, gather a lot of data, treat them as hypothesis, and then verify them by whatever like proper authoritative methods are out there. AI is not an authoritative method. It's a great way for you to drum up ideas, but you got to do the homework. Please do not fall prey to this, because I think this is going to be a big, big issue that people who just don't understand how AI works are going to run into. And the other thing too is, really, this is highlighting the likelihood of misinformation even on your Google searches. Like, you could have Google searches that just have false data. It's literally just either a botnet made the web page, or someone just isn't really an expert on the subject, it just quickly made a web page and published it out there, and then you're treating it like it's an authority, and it's not. So just be more sophisticated than that. That's my encouragement. So in recent times, there has been an ongoing debate regarding the extent to which ChatGPT can be integrated into workforces. Like I just said, do your homework. However, reports indicate that the intelligent levels of ChatGPT are rapidly advancing, and that's certainly true. Developers are skeptical about whether it has the potential to replace humans altogether. I don't have an answer for that. I think in a lot of tasks, it certainly does. In a lot of industries where the logic can be discerned, I think that makes sense. But in places where, like, you sincerely need an artist, you sincerely need like a human mind, I just think that we're built differently, right? Um, I think AI is going to be an incredible tool, just like robotics are an incredible tool, right? Like, I no longer want a human being peeling every potato that is going to become a French fry. Like, we have machines that can just do it better, and there's less fingernails in my potatoes, so let's do that. Developers are skeptical about whether it has the potential to replace humans altogether. So blockchain developer Syed Guysanfer said while he favors ChatGPT, he's doubtful it has the communication skills to completely replace human workers. And who knows with given time? I think technology will surprise you, but I don't think you should be afraid. I think you should be looking for how you can provide as much value as possible as a contributing member to society, right? For it to replace you, you have to communicate requirements which are not possible in native English, and that's why we invented programming languages. So, interesting conversation. It's a brilliant example of how people misunderstand technology and implement it poorly. So, I expect a lot more of those types of conversations to happen, and I'm sure it'll intersect crypto in plenty of ways. So, don't play yourself, homie. I'm an ice cruncher. I don't know if anyone else has this problem. I cannot help myself. It's just like as a kid, I crunched ice a bunch, you know. So our next article: Reddit collectible avatar holders approaching 10 million in 11 months after launch. And so this isn't quite crypto, but man, it's close. And I think that it demonstrates use case here. So with a month to year since its launch, the Reddit collectible avatar holders are 90,535 shy of hitting 10 million milestone, according to data revealed by Dune. Interestingly, the majority of current Reddit NFT holders only hold one avatar, meaning they do not have multiple wallets. So it's actually a pretty good indicator of, these numbers are real people. The Reddit collectible avatars. The Reddit avatars were launched in July 2022 after social media platform Reddit launched a collectible avatar marketplace on the Ethereum scaling network Polygon. Reddit content creators and independent artists designed the avatars in the collection. The collection of avatars surged in the first few months after the launch before reaching a plateau in November 2022, where when 3 million holders, or when there I think were about 3 million holders. That's a typo, guys. The uptake has, however, picked up in 2023 with the holders more than tripling in the last 6 months. So apparently these Reddit collectibles on Polygon are kicking it. So besides the holders increasing, the Reddit collectible avatars market capitalization has risen to 38.4 million. In total, there are 13.7 million NFT avatars in the Reddit collection. Since the avatars were launched, there have been over 303,000 sales worth $32.6 million, according to Dune Analysis. However, the splendid performance has not come without issues. In May this year, a Redditor referred to by the name Context Melodic 4212 on the platform insinuated the likelihood of bots being responsible for the surge in Reddit NFT activity. He said, actually, there are some issues here, and they're with avatars getting scooped or botted, not bottled, could be bottled, it's botted by some. It's far from being perfect. However, I can't think of a better use case for this technology, and that's for sure. I think social media avatars, it's a reasonable use case here, and they're collectible. So if you want a guy with a banana hammock, you can get one. However, the issues with the bots did not cause much attention during a recent Ask Me Anything with the R India subreddit. Polygon co-founder Sandeep Nailwal stated that he was a great fan of the Reddit avatars and suggested launching a secondary marketplace in an artist launchpad. Reddit has also announced support for the game giant Ubisoft's Rabbids. Rabbids are so funny looking. NFT collection. Following the announcement, Redditors can claim Rabbids NFTs avatars for free to use on the profiles on their platform. Man, have you seen these things? I just want to show you what these things look like. They're crazy. There's a game on Wii I played the snot out of. Called Raving Rabbids. This game here. That game's hilarious. Like, it's legit funny. But these guys are like intentionally ugly, but they kind of act like minions from from crap. What was the original movie that minions were from? With the orphans. Despicable Me. Yeah, Despicable Me. So super good game. I actually kind of recommend that game. It's a good laugh, I think. So forecast. There we are. I clicked the wrong thing. My bad. Forgive me. I don't got a high May right now. Um, why are so many VCs and startups flocking back to banks? The collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and others led to predictions of big shifts away from centralized finance. James Woe examines why that hasn't happened yet. So this is pretty interesting. I think right now the big question is one, regulation in the space, two, scalability in the space, and I think we're answering that, with Taproot and whatnot. So the third big thing is money, right? Like, when are crypto projects going to get proper funding? And you have to look to venture capitalists for that, because they're the guys driving, the money for all these crypto projects. They're the ones with a very speculative eye. And so I think this conversation is super relevant. So the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and others led to predictions of big shifts away from centralized finance. James Will examines why that hasn't happened yet. So just as, dang, I gotta zoom in. I gotta zoom in. I pushed a button and I think it was the wrong one. There we go. There you go. So just as venture capitalists and startups tried to withdraw funds in mass from Silicon Valley Bank, a considerable number are already clamoring to get back in. Are they right to do so? Silicon Valley Bank's downfall placed a large target on the back of specialized banks and big tech VC ecosystems. The reverberations have also affected institutions outside of the United States, including previous reputable and seemingly exclusive institutions such as Credit Suisse. And with continuous rumblings of wider instability still on the horizon, it makes sense for companies to weigh their options going forward. The connective thread of centralization across these banking collapses should not be ignored by VCs and startups in the crypto and Web3 space. But if this string of banking collapses indicates anything, it's that it could be time for VCs and other liquidity providers to start migrating from centralized finance, because it's risky. And what's funny is, like, this used to be the argument for why you shouldn't be in decentralized finance. It used to be decentralized finance is too risky. You don't want to do that. Now there's more confidence in decentralized finance than there is in centralized finance. So I think that's fascinating to see that shift here. With so many competing narratives and paths forward to take, what can startups and investors do to make sure they're not falling into another trap? And that's really the question. To be clear, we're not advising VCs to put all their funds into one basket or for startups to completely avoid banks at all costs. Banks and institutions provide immeasurable support for liquidity providers to help jumpstart initiative startups and keep business operations intact. This is especially true in growth stages where capital and other non-financial support are most vital to take a company out of the startup zone and create a business that's built to last. Additionally, as of now, there's no viable, truly decentralized alternative to banks that can function or that can functionally accommodate the financial needs that large VCs and investment vehicles require yet, right? But with that in mind, we can't ignore that the quick succession of centralized banking collapses has immediate impacts on the crypto ecosystem, including a near disastrous stablecoin depegging. This indicates that despite all the buzz around how crypto's ready to overtake traditional finance, it's very reliant on these traditional industries. And that's true. Like, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is, but I'm saying the general space is, because the general space is doing more than just trying to secure a transactional network. They're trying to build all this extra functionality and on ramps and off ramps, and there's a lot more to it than uh, what Bitcoin did. What Bitcoin did was important, critically important. This whole thing exists because of Bitcoin, but there's a lot of other tasks, to be done in the general crypto, DeFi, Web3 space that just takes money. It takes money to pay programmers, and programmers are not cheap. So anywho, this indicates that despite all the buzz around how crypto is ready to overtake traditional finance. It's still very reliant on these traditional industries. So, tackling a macro level crisis that can have serious consequences for your operations and future requires a level head in the decision making process, knowing what steps to take after a crisis like this happens, recognizing where you stand and what directions are open. And this right here, dude, I can't tell you how hard that actually is. Like it's almost like when you're looking at a crypto chart and you're trying to guess what's going to happen, in the next 2 years accurately. And then you're trying to tell someone, "Hey, you should give me a lot of money because this is going to happen." It's that difficult because you're dealing with deep levels of speculation, and you have to be very sophisticated about based on all of these key metrics. That's why we think you should give us this money to do these things. And so if your narrative is not airtight, you'll get a lot of criticism, a lot of pushback, and you won't be, uh, successful in your proposals. So VC is hard, man. Shout outs to everyone who's in venture capital because what you guys do is not easy. It is quite complex. So appreciate you guys, man. When an industry is in recovery mode, it might seem worthwhile to follow what your peers are doing in order to make a quick decision. But what works best for everyone else might not necessarily work for you or your needs and recovery strategy. And that's what I'm talking about right there. Like, you can't just copy paste what other people are doing because the whole value proposition you're bringing is that like you're doing something unique that isn't what everyone else is doing. That's why people are willing to give you money and not everyone else, right? Like you are doing something of value. You are proposing a hole in the market, a gap that you can close and make money by closing because you're filling a need. So, yeah, man, difficult stuff. Due diligence don'ts. So with these routes to consider, it would be wise, very wise, to remember not to strictly depend on other institutions or VCs to do their due diligence just because they seem reputable or operate within a risk scope that looks appealing. Yeah, dude. Yeah, for crypto, man, the way I see it is it's just an ecosystem. Like you can have things in the ecosystem that you prefer. It's almost like there's sports teams in a league that you don't like, but you still want them to exist so that your team can beat them. You know what I mean? Like it's like you want them to exist that way they can lose, right? Because if your favorite team doesn't have a team to go against, there's no game. Is the idea? Whoa! Crunching ice again. Damn it! Why? Yeah, not just speculation, but corruption as well. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair input, man. But there's corruption kind of everywhere. There's corruption in crypto. There's corruption in fiat. So I don't think corruption's the key indicator, but trust but verify. Just because an institution is well respected and known for taking the right steps in other situations does not mean it always makes, dang it, the best call. Yes, such institutions are reputable for a reason, and that's a fair call to make. But the way an institution or consultancy analyzes a situation and its implications are typically meant for a broader audience to utilize. Well, it's certainly smart to use it as a benchmark. Ultimately, only you can understand the needs of your company and investments. So, VCs and liquidity providers in the coming months are likely going to stick to what they know and bolster projects in the industry that have a dependable track record. And considering the bank crisis doesn't appear quite over yet, particularly in the United States, it may be time to consider other options for storing, funding, and building wealth. So, good question. What are those other options for storing funds and building wealth? Well, a truly decentralized alternative does not yet exist, but in the future, it absolutely will provide an alternative to the current system. So I think this is a call out, guys. Like, if you know of any decentralized alternative to what big banks are generally doing, and they can actually put their money where their mouth is with security and transparency, their architecture, and their actual, how do I say this, their operational security, uh, let us know, because I mean, I'm paying attention to it. I think there's a big hole in the market for someone who wants to fill this gap, but it requires a lot of skills and a lot of sophistication. So, to the victor may be the spoils. Diversifying where your money lies across centralized and decentralized spaces is not a bad idea, but it requires strong research, which most people don't do, but you do because you're here, and an understanding that these sectors work in completely different ways. Just because you know how TradFi and DeFi work, that's traditional finance, by the way, and decentralized finance, doesn't necessarily mean your knowledge is always transferable. And it's important to always be open to learning and being cautious. Each sector comes with its own inherent risks. That's an understatement there. Silicon Valley Bank was a bank failure, not a startup failure. Still, that doesn't mean that startups and VCs should learn anything from its demise. Perhaps the VCs and startups that felt the sting of its collapse are right to go back, and perhaps they're not. But if there's one key lesson to take away from the many crises plaguing the tech industry over the past year or so, it is that following the crowd is not always the best idea. And this whole article, that was super astute. And this piece right here is exactly true. In crypto, if you are buying your positions during the bear market based on as much research as you can gather, you will be in the unique position to make a lot of value when it pumps in the bull market. But mind you, the majority buy in the bull market, not the bear market. Majority ignore what's going on in the bear market. And so if you're hanging out in decentralized TV, hanging out at DCTV, Crypto and Coffee, and whatever other programs we got going on, like, you are going to be well equipped to make the right decisions for your financial future. And come bull market, man, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna do some hangouts and kick it with the squad. So and we'll be high-fiving each other, laughing that during the bull market we were hanging out in the morning, drinking coffee, and making fun of Gundy's punctuation. I'm just kidding. He's gonna be like hypercritical, looking for bro, sentences start with caps. Start with the caps, bro. I'm just flaming you. It's all good. So our next article here, another thing with AI, and Pony.ai introduces driverless robo-taxi services in Shenzhen, China, following successful launch in Guangzhou. So this is crazy, man. There's driverless taxis. You hearing that? That's the future's now, man. Where's my hoverboard? Chinese autonomous vehicle startup Pony.ai has introduced its driverless robo-taxi service in Shenzhen. On Monday, the autonomous vehicle technology company revealed that it has received a permit in Shenzhen to conduct robo-taxi services without an onboard safety officer in the city's core areas, according to a report by CNEV Post. Pony.ai was founded in the late 2016 and since then has established research and development centers in Silicon Valley, Guangzhou, Beijing, Shanghai, and is running a robotaxi operation locally. The company launched the robotaxi app Pony Pilot. Reminds me of Genuine. Pony, ride it, my pony. In December 2018 and in November 2020, it secured a permit to operate the robotaxi service in Beijing. In March 2021, Pony.ai announced that it had received a license in Beijing to operate fully unmanned robotaxi services within a 60 square kilometer area in how do you pronounce that? Yiwang, maybe, Economic Development Zone. In April, the company was granted permission to offer robo-taxi service without a safety officer in Guangzhou. Baidu is the only other firm that has obtained such a permit. Pony.ai has 200,000 paid travel orders. Pony.ai's expansion into the sprawling metropolis of Shenzhen comes as the company has been able to quickly roll out self-driving technology in different cities. The company said that the driverless vehicles need to undergo rigorous testing before hitting the road, including remote and extreme scenarios. I mean, I'd love to see what their criteria is for an extreme scenario. Like, the street is covered in peanut butter. Like, what type of extreme scenarios, I wonder? There's dumpster fires in the street. That's Portland. Safety management, network and data security, risk response, and a comprehensive assessment by experts and government departments. So to date, Pony.ai has more than 1 million kilometers of fully unmanned testing and nearly 200,000 paid travel orders. Pony.ai, which is backed by Toyota Motor and NIO Capital, aims to remain at the forefront of China's rapidly growing autonomous vehicle market. That's super interesting. Oh, what up, Crypto Scout? I'll see you, bro. The Chinese government has identified self-driving cars as a key strategic area for growth and has been actively supporting the development in the sector. The country had previously said that it wants to have vehicles with partial self-driving technology account for 50% of all new vehicle sales in 2025. Interesting. Meanwhile, Pony.ai faces stiff competition for rivals such as Baidu and Didi Chuxing. Autonomous cars have been in development for over a decade, but the market has been heating up just recently as investors and automakers pour billions of dollars into the business. So if you're currently doing, listen carefully, if you're currently doing Lyft or, you know, Uber, that type of thing, this exactly replaces that with robots. So I think the thing that probably this doesn't quite replace yet is like delivering food and whatnot, because you still have to walk on someone's property and whatnot and use your sensibilities. So, and I think most people would be pretty freaked out if some robot was just flying on their property. I'd shoot it down. Maybe I wouldn't. Who knows? Several companies, including Waymo, Cruise, and Zoox, have launched their own robo-taxi services all over the world. Robo-taxis are expected to reduce traffic, lower transportation costs, that makes sense, and improve safety. So everyone complains about traffic and how much it costs to travel. So I don't think anyone's really tripping about safety, but I think that can be used to sell a sticker. They also have the potential to significantly reduce traffic congestion. A fleet of self-driving cars can be programmed to travel in the most efficient way possible, avoiding jams and waiting times. So by reducing traffic congestion, robotaxi can help alleviate the issues of air pollution and environmental degradation caused by long idling times in congested traffic. That's fair. You look at California, that's exactly what's happening though. It's just a parking lot of running cars. So yeah, this article is super interesting. I'm interested to see how autonomous vehicles are going to interface with cryptocurrencies too, because I imagine that's probably going to be a default way for you to be able to pay on an AI taxi, you know, because you just sort of scan your app and do your thing. So let me know, would you take a ride in an autonomous taxi over, you know, some man driving a car you don't know? I mean, I don't think I like the idea of robots driving me, but then again, it kind of reminds me of that part in Silicon Valley, you know, the HBO show where Jared gets in the, you know, the AI taxi and it like puts him on a boat and takes him off into like the middle of the ocean. It's like I just think those types of scenarios might actually occur, right? So, anyways, interesting. And let's see. Oh, yeah, let's talk about this. So, close to a billion Doge moved by anonymous wallets as part of a surging Doge transfer volume. So, and this is actually me. You know, I just put the hood on and then I turn the lights down and I just have a Doge behind me, so that's the move, man. Also, all hackers do look like that. We all wear hoodies and we all wear our hoods up. It's just a fact of the world. So, in a recent tweet, the Doge whale alert tracker of Dogecoin wallets shared that a couple of hours ago, a massive Doge transaction was spotted carrying slightly less than a billion Doge, a cryptocurrency asset that was initially launched as a meme, in case you didn't know. But if you know, you know. This news came after a massive surge in Dogecoin transactions was reported. 620 million Dogecoin on the move. Is Robinhood involved here? It was reported that a total of 619,000 Doge was transferred between two different wallet addresses. This is the equivalent of $45 million. So, few pennies here or there. Doge whale, I see you. And do you see that, by the way? You can transfer on Doge. Like, people sleep on Doge, but just pay attention to this. You can transfer $45.3 million for 16 cents. Do you see that? So that is why and I've been telling you this, big miners use Doge to move money off and onto exchanges without having to pay big transaction fees. I'm telling you, they do that. So that's the reason. 16 cents to move $45 million. So people might be like, yeah, Doge is a meme, but Doge is also really good technology. It's secure on script algorithm and it's super fast. Like, it's legit, actually. So don't sleep on Doge. Do you understand that? Don't sleep on it. Let's keep reading. Recently, the same sources spread the word that popular trading investment platform Robinhood had seen its stable Doge holdings decline sharply. These Doge coins are held on behalf of the platform's customers. I hate that. And more than a year, this stash contained 24% of the coin supply in circulation. However, last week, slightly over 5 billion Doge were removed from Robinhood in several transfers containing 680 million Dogecoin each. Yeah, don't sleep on Litecoin, because it's good for the same reason Dogecoin's good. It's cheap and it's fast. Doge whale alert was not definite about the destination of those transfers. It may have been customers on Robinhood moving their crypto away from the platform, or it may have been Robinhood sending the Doge to a different wallet, the source stated. Currently, the amount of Dogecoin held by the company remains unchanged, standing at 22. Dang, homie, hold up. Billion. So that's 22.6 billion meme coins, which are valuated at $1.6 billion and comprise 16.23% of the circulating supply. So Doge transactions reach all-time high. According to an earlier U.Today report, the amount of Doge transactions has exploded recently. Earlier in May, it reached the record level of processing 20,000 transfers on a daily basis. On May 25th, the volume of Doge transfers reached 1.15 million, jumping even higher on the days that followed. On May 27th, the volume of Doge transfers hit the $2 million level. Thus, Dogecoin became the first cryptocurrency to outperform Bitcoin's transaction peak over the last 14 years. So, what do I think this is? Well, I'm glad you asked, hypothetical person. I think the timing on this is related to Litecoin. I think Litecoin is anticipated to pump. And when Litecoin pumps, Doge pumps, and people take Doge profits. And so I think, if you would ask me, that's what I'm persuaded to think is happening here. Is that financial advice? No, it isn't. It's speculation from some nerd on the internet. But I'm a pretty informed nerd, but it's still just a nerd's opinion. So take that for what you will. Yeah, Indo, when you say big numbers like that, you need to lift your pinky. Yeah, $1 billion. It's that. It's exactly that. So that is our show for the day. Except I'm going to talk about this one last one. Hi, gotcha. Senator Cynthia Loomis, and she's from Wyoming, joins fight against Biden's crypto tax. So it's cool to see representative officials being like, guys, we're not going in this direction. This isn't the right move. Bitcoin mining is a polarizing subject that has often drawn the ire of governments due to its high energy use in the latest instance. President Joe Biden-led administration has stressed plans to impose a harsh tax regime on the activity. The proposal has, however, received pushback from members of the Bitcoin community who have argued that the administration's priorities are misplaced. Bitcoin community members are notably not the only ones to have criticized the proposal. United States presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. bashed the proposal as a bad idea. Kennedy has chosen to align himself with the Bitcoin community in public statements. Senator Cynthia Lummis asserted that the tax would not pass Congress during the Bitcoin conference. The pro-Bitcoin lawmaker recently reiterated these views, pledging to stand in the way of the Biden administration's proposal. So Lummis pledges to stand in the way of the Biden crypto tax. Lummis asserted that she would not let Biden kill off the crypto industry with taxes in a tweet on Thursday, May 25th, implying she would not support the proposal in Congress. And I love seeing this. People being like, yeah, well, this isn't the right direction for our country. Like, whether it's negligence or whether it's maliciousness, it doesn't matter. It's just you need to be informed. A 30% tax hike on any specific industry is a blatant attempt by the administration to pick winners and losers. Ugh, music. Crypto taxation has recently become a significant point in the U.S. budget talks. Aside from the 30% tax on crypto mining, Biden has also asserted that his administration wants to eliminate tax loopholes for wealthy crypto traders. So they're trying to say that, like, yeah, even though we know crypto traders are usually small guys, they're saying that we're wealthy. So you're picking on the little guy here. It's not the right move, dude. Biden's statements have sparked both confusion and anger with the crypto community. Experts speculate that he is referring to the lack of wash trading rules that allow crypto traders to engage in tax loss harvesting. So why this matters: if the tax proposal passes in Congress, it'll likely drive Bitcoin miners to other jurisdictions. The crypto industry faces significant uncertainty in the U.S. as regulators have ramped up enforcement actions. So good law means people stay here and they build in the United States. Bad law means they find somewhere where laws favor reasonable decisions. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. But that will be our show for today here on Crypto and Coffee on Decentralized Lord. And I want you to keep calm and huddle on. We have a Discord link in the description. I'm active in there if you ask questions. Come hang out. We talk all sorts of stuff. I'm also a meme lord, so you can share memes with me. How does that sound? You like memes? Memes? I like memes. Happy Memorial Day. Go hang out with your family. Enjoy yourselves. Hopefully the weather's nice. You're still watching the show like I'm going to say something important, and I'm totally not. I'm just going to groove here. Oh, you want to hear the music, don't you? Ooh, that's so low. By the way, this track has samples from, I'll show you the song. Sometimes when I make beats, I like to sample vinyl records. And so this gentleman here, Hiroshi Suzuki, he made this beautiful record. I'll show you this. By the way, this isn't the show. We're just hanging out. But this album here, did some samples from. This guy's amazing. He's this Japanese guy who did really amazing jazz music, and I love sampling off that record, straight off the vinyl, of course, and playing in my own analog stuff into it. So you gotta love that. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Ooh, 1, 2. We doing that? We doing that? I don't know, man. You guys are nerds. Respect the pump. We'll be back on Wednesday. So come on along.